The sound of their laughter hit me before I even opened the bedroom door. I'd come home early from my sister's, thinking I'd surprise Jason with takeout from his favorite Thai place. Instead, I was the one getting the surprise of my life. I'm Marley, and until that moment, I thought I had it all: a successful career in marketing, a beautiful home in the suburbs, and what I believed was a rock solid marriage of 8 years. Funny how life can shatter everything you think you know in the span of a heartbeat. My hand froze on the doorknob as I heard Rosalie's voice through the door. She has no idea, does she? God, we've been so careful. Careful is my middle name, Jason replied, followed by the rustle of sheets. Once the transfer goes through next week, we'll have everything set up. Poor, trusting Marley won't know what hit her. My stomach lurched, but I forced myself to stay silent, pressing my ear against the door. How much are you moving? Rosalie asked. Everything. The joint accounts, the investment portfolio, even her inheritance from her dad. She gave me access last year, remember? By the time she figures it out, we'll be sipping margaritas in Cabo. I bit down hard on my knuckles to keep from screaming. Rosalie, my best friend since college, the woman who'd been my maid of honor, who'd held my hand through my father's funeral, was in my bed with my husband, plotting to destroy me. What about the house? Rosalie's voice dripped with false concern. Already working on it. Convinced her to sign it over to an LLC last month. Said it was for tax purposes. Jason's smug laugh made my blood boil. She trusts me completely. It's almost too easy. The takeout bag slipped from my fingers, landing with a soft thud on the carpet. Inside the room, everything went quiet. Did you hear something? Rosalie whispered. That was my cue. I straightened my spine, took a deep breath, and walked down the hallway, making sure my heels clicked loudly against the hardwood floors. Jason, I called out cheerfully. I'm home early. The scrambling sounds from the bedroom would have been comical if they weren't breaking my heart. I counted to 30, giving them time to dress, before walking back to the bedroom door and pushing it open. There they stood, Jason buttoning his shirt, Rosalie smoothing her hair. Our bed, the bed we'd picked out together at that cute boutique in Portland, was a rumpled mess. Marley, Rosalie's face was flushed. I just stopped by to drop off those contracts you wanted to review. I smiled, amazed at how steady my voice was. Really? Where are they? I. She glanced at Jason, panic flickering across her face. They're downstairs, Jason cut in smoothly, walking over to kiss my cheek. I fought the urge to recoil. How's Tessa doing? Oh, you know my sister, I said lightly, meeting his eyes. Always full of drama, but she gave me some interesting perspective today. Yeah? Jason's confidence wavered slightly. Mm-hmm. She reminded me that sometimes the people closest to us aren't who they seem. I turned to Rosalie. Isn't that right, bestie? Rosalie's face went pale. I should go. Lots of work to catch up on. I watched her grab her purse and practically run from the room, Jason's eyes following her every move. The moment we heard the front door close, he turned to me with that charming smile that used to make my knees weak. Want to order in tonight? I'm thinking Thai. I looked at the floor where my dropped takeout bag still sat, already covered, though I seemed to have lost my appetite. Everything okay? He reached for me, but I stepped back. Just tired. Think I'll take a shower and turn in early. I forced another smile. By the way, did you handle that transfer we talked about? For the investment account? Not yet, he said quickly. Been swamped at work. I nodded, watching him lie to my face. No rush. We have all the time in the world. As I walked to the bathroom, my mind was already racing. They thought I was stupid, naive, trusting Marley. They had no idea what was coming. I caught my reflection in the mirror, calm, collected, already plotting. They wanted to play games? Fine. But they were about to learn that I wrote the rule book. I turned on the shower to mask any sound and pulled out my phone. Tessa, remember that conversation we had about karma? I'm going to need your help with something. You're sure about this? Tessa whispered as we sat in her home office, hunched over her laptop. It was 7 a.m., and I'd made up an excuse about an early morning yoga class to Jason. Look at these emails. I pointed to the screen, my hand shaking slightly. They've been planning this for months. After discovering their betrayal 3 days ago, I'd been methodically gathering evidence. Jason's password had been our wedding date. So much for careful. His email account was a gold mine of deceit. That bastard, Tessa muttered, scrolling through messages between Jason and Rosalie. They were planning to leave next Thursday and take everything? Everything except what they don't know about. I pulled out my father's old leather journal. Dad always said to keep something for a rainy day. The account he left me in Switzerland? Jason has no idea it exists. The doorbell rang, making us both jump. Tessa checked her security camera feed. It's Aaron, I nodded. Jason's brother had reached out yesterday, saying he needed to talk. When he walked in, his face was grim. Marley, I can't keep quiet anymore. Aaron ran his hands through his hair. Jason's been sleeping with Rosalie? I finished for him. Planning to clean out our accounts? Aaron's jaw dropped. You know? Caught them in the act 3 days ago. I kept my voice steady. How long have you known? 2 months. He couldn't meet my eyes. I confronted him, told him to come clean. He swore he would, but then I saw them at the marina last weekend, looking at boats. Expensive boats. Tessa handed him a coffee. The marina? That's new information. I pulled out my phone, making notes. Aaron, I need to know everything, every detail you can remember. For the next hour, Aaron spilled everything he knew. The offshore accounts, the fake business Jason had set up, the property he'd bought in Rosalie's name, using our money. There's more, Aaron said quietly. Remember that charity gala you couldn't attend last month because you were sick? My stomach clenched. I had food poisoning. Could barely leave the bathroom. It wasn't food poisoning. I overheard them. They put something in your dinner that night. They needed you out of the way so they could meet with some lawyer. The coffee cup in my hand crashed to the floor. Tessa swore, jumping up to grab paper towels. They poisoned me? My voice came out as a whisper. Aaron reached for my hand. I should have told you sooner. I'm so sorry, Marley. I stood up, walking to Tessa's window. Outside, children were riding bikes, neighbors walking dogs. Normal life continuing while mine was in pieces. I need access to everything you have, I said, turning back to Aaron. Bank statements, property records, anything you can get your hands on. Already on it. He pulled out a USB drive. Downloaded these from his computer last night. He was too drunk at dinner to notice me slip away. Tessa plugged in the drive, and we spent the next hour documenting everything. By the time we finished, I had enough evidence to bury them both. What's your next move? Tessa asked. I checked my phone. 3 texts from Jason asking about dinner plans. One from Rosalie suggesting a girls' lunch tomorrow. First, I'm going to move everything I can to secure accounts. Then, I smiled, but there was no warmth in it. I'm going to play their game better than they ever could. I'm calling Mom, Tessa declared, already dialing. You need her lawyer friend's number. No, not yet. I held up my hand. They can't suspect anything. I need to be the same trusting, naive Marley they think I am. For now. My phone buzzed again. Jason. Missing you, babe. Early meeting tomorrow, but can't wait to see you tonight. Love you. I typed back, miss you too, making your favorite dinner. Aaron watched me, concern etched on his face. You're scary good at that. I learned from the best, didn't I? I showed them my banking app. Watch this. With a few taps, I transferred a significant sum from our joint account to a new one I'd set up yesterday. The transfer description read, Investment Portfolio Reallocation, exactly what Jason had been doing for weeks. He's been moving money in small amounts, I explained. Now I'm doing the same. By the time he notices, it'll be too late. Tessa hugged me tight. What do you need from us? I looked at my sister and my soon-to-be ex-brother-in-law, feeling stronger than I had in days. Just be ready, the show's about to begin. As I drove home, I started planning dinner, Jason's favorite lasagna. He'd never suspect that while he was savoring every bite, I'd be systematically dismantling the life he'd planned with my best friend. Karma, after all, was best served with a side of garlic bread. Babe, have you seen the statement from our investment account? Jason called from his home office. I smiled into my coffee cup, counting down in my head. 3, 2, 1. Is something wrong? I asked, walking in with the perfect mix of concern and innocence on my face. There's a large transfer here. He frowned at his screen. Did you move some money around? I perched on his desk, letting my hand rest on his shoulder. Oh, that. Remember that financial advisor you mentioned? The one Rosalie recommended? I finally took her advice and set up a meeting. Jason's face went pale. You what? I thought you'd be proud of me, taking initiative with our finances. I pulled up the advisor's website on my phone. Mr. Thompson had some amazing ideas about portfolio diversification. You should have discussed this with me first, Jason said, his voice tight with barely controlled panic. But you're always saying I should be more involved in our finances. I kissed his cheek, feeling him tense. Don't worry, I followed your example. You know, those transfers you've been making to that new account? He knocked over his coffee mug, dark liquid spreading across his desk. What transfers? The ones to the LLC? I saw them on our statement and figured that was your strategy. I started dabbing at the spill with tissues. Is everything okay? You look worried. Everything's fine, he managed, reaching for his phone. I have a meeting to get to. As soon as he left, I called Tessa. He took the bait. $10 says he's calling Rosalie right now. Make it 20, she laughed. Erin's watching her house. Says she just ran out to her car like her hair's on fire. I checked my watch. Perfect timing. The mover should be at the storage unit in 30 minutes. I'd spent the past week secretly moving our most valuable possessions, artwork, jewelry, family heirlooms, into a secure storage facility. Each piece carefully documented and photographed. Let them try to claim I was hiding assets. I had receipts for everything. My phone buzzed with a text from Rosalie. Lunch today? Need to talk about something important. Can't today, I replied, meeting with the financial advisor again. He's so helpful. Thanks for the recommendation. 3 dots appeared and disappeared several times before she responded. What financial advisor? The one you told Jason about, Mr. Thompson? Unless, did I mix something up? No, I mean, yes, that's right. Rain check on lunch? I smirked at her obvious panic. Of course, bestie. The doorbell rang, and I found Erin on my doorstep with a stack of papers. You need to see these, he said, spreading them across the kitchen counter. Found them in Jason's car this morning while he was at the gym. Property listings in Mexico, passport applications, a handwritten list of account numbers in Rosalie's writing. They're getting sloppy, I noted, photographing everything. Overconfident. There's more. Erin pulled out his phone, showing me security footage from his company's parking garage. Jason and Rosalie in a heated argument, gesturing wildly. This was 10 minutes ago. Trouble in paradise? I grinned. Send me that footage. Already did. But Marley? Erin hesitated. Be careful. When Jason feels cornered, he gets dangerous. As if on cue, my phone lit up with Jason's face. Hey, honey, Coming home for lunch? Can't today, I said brightly. Having lunch with your brother. Discussing that business opportunity he mentioned? Silence on the other end. Aaron and I exchanged knowing looks. What business opportunity? Jason's voice was sharp. Oh, was it supposed to be a secret? Aaron mentioned some investment potential at his firm. Since I'm getting more involved in our finances, I thought, stay away from my brother. The threat in his voice was clear. Jason, what's wrong? You're scaring me. Just don't make any more financial decisions without consulting me first, okay? After hanging up, I turned to Aaron. He's starting to crack. You're enjoying this way too much, he observed. Enjoying watching the people I trusted most try to destroy me? I started gathering the papers. You bet I am. My phone buzzed again, an alert from my bank. Jason was attempting to access the account I'd transferred money to. Too bad he didn't know about the two-factor authentication I'd set up, or the fact that Mr. Thompson, the fictional financial advisor, was actually my mother's best friend's son, a forensic accountant who'd been documenting everything. Ready for phase 2? Aaron asked. I nodded, pulling out the divorce papers I'd had drawn up. Time to let them think they're winning. Call Rosalie. Tell her Jason's getting suspicious of me. Let's see how fast she throws him under the bus to save herself. As Aaron made the call, I studied my reflection in the window. The scared, trusting wife was gone. In her place stood someone stronger, someone who knew exactly how this game would end. And it wouldn't be pretty. You look like you haven't slept in days, Bowen said, sliding a coffee across his desk. As my mother's longtime friend and one of the city's top divorce attorneys, his office had become my sanctuary. That's because I haven't. I pulled out my laptop. Look what Rosalie sent me last night. The email was sickeningly sweet, warning me about suspicious activity she'd noticed in my accounts, offering to help me track down any unauthorized transactions. Bowen let out a low whistle. She's trying to cover her tracks. Classic move. That's not all. I played him the voicemail Jason had left, his voice thick with fake concern, suggesting we meet with his financial advisor to protect our assets. They're getting nervous, Bowen observed, making notes. The offshore account transfers kept bouncing back. Every single one. I couldn't help but smile. Turns out those anti-fraud measures I put in place last week are working perfectly. A knock at the door interrupted us. Tessa burst in, waving her phone. You're not going to believe this. Rosalie just called me. What did she want? To warn me about you. Tessa's voice dripped with sarcasm. Says she's worried about your mental health. Claims you've been making irrational financial decisions, that Jason's beside himself with worry. Let me guess. She suggested having me evaluated? My laugh was hollow. They're laying groundwork to claim I'm unstable. Already handled, Bowen interjected. I had you undergo a psychological evaluation last week, remember? You're officially documented as being of completely sound mind. My phone buzzed. Another text from Jason. We need to talk about these transfers. Coming home early today. Perfect timing, I muttered, showing them the message. Ready to put on a show? 2 hours later, I was in our kitchen when Jason walked in. Right on cue, Rosalie was with him. Marley, honey, she started, her face a mask of concern. We need to talk. Of course, I chirped, pulling cookies from the oven. I just baked your favorite, chocolate chip. Remember how we used to make these during our college study sessions? They exchanged glances, thrown off by my cheerfulness. It's about the money you've been moving around, Jason said firmly. We're worried about you. I set down the baking sheet with a clang. Worried? About me? That's so sweet. I turned to Rosalie. Isn't he the best husband? Always looking out for me, just like you're the best friend anyone could ask for. Marley, Rosalie stepped forward, reaching for my hand. We think you might need help, professional help. Oh, I brightened. Like Mr. Thompson? He's been so helpful with the accounts. Or did you mean the other kind of help? I pulled out my phone. Actually, I have something to show you both. Their faces fell as I pulled up the psychological evaluation on my screen. My lawyer suggested I get this done last week. Clean bill of mental health. Isn't that great news? Your lawyer? Jason's voice cracked. Bowen Boyd, Mom's friend. He's been helping me understand all these financial terms. I waved my hand dismissively. You know how confused I get about money matters. The color drained from both their faces. Why do you need a lawyer? Rosalie's voice was barely a whisper. Oh, just being careful, like you both taught me to be. I started packaging up the cookies. These are for Aaron, by the way. He's been so helpful lately. Jason grabbed my arm. What exactly has my brother been helping you with? I looked pointedly at his hand until he released me. Just some investment advice. Speaking of which, how's that property in Mexico coming along? The one you and Rosalie were looking at? The cookie tin crashed to the floor. Rosalie stumbled backward, catching herself on the counter. I, I should go, she stammered. So soon? But we haven't even talked about the offshore accounts yet. Or should we save that discussion for the lawyers? Jason stepped toward me, his face dark. What game are you playing? Game? I met his gaze steadily. I learned from the best, didn't I? You and Rosalie are excellent teachers. Marley, please, Rosalie pleaded. We can explain. Save it for court. I started cleaning up the spilled cookies. By the way, Jason, you might want to check those account transfers again. Seems like there's been some technical difficulties. As they stood there, shell-shocked, my phone buzzed. A text from Bowen. Everything's in place, ready when you are. Now, if you'll excuse me, I said, grabbing my purse. I have a meeting with my financial team. Don't wait up, honey. I left them standing in the kitchen, surrounded by broken cookies and shattered schemes. Phase 2 was complete. Time for the real fun to begin. Someone's following me, I said into my phone as I drove home from work. Black SUV, 3 cars back. Been with me since I left the office. Jason hired a PI, Aaron confirmed. I overheard him on the phone this morning. Want me to run the plates? Already did. Registered to Summit Investigations. I checked my rearview mirror again. Amateur hour. At least hire someone who knows how to tail properly. I pulled into the grocery store parking lot, watching the SUV awkwardly try to look inconspicuous 2 rows over. My phone buzzed with a text from Rosalie. Please answer my calls. We need to talk. Your brother's getting desperate, I told Aaron. 7 missed calls today. Rosalie's up to 12. Be careful. He was at my office earlier, asking questions about your meetings there. Perfect, I smiled, grabbing my shopping bag. Time to give our PI friend something interesting to report. I walked into the store, making sure to bump into Bowen, right on schedule. Marley, he called out loudly enough for anyone watching to hear. I was just thinking about you. Bowen, what a surprise! I touched his arm, letting my hand linger. Thank you again for dinner last night. The restaurant was amazing. We hadn't actually had dinner, but the PI didn't know that. My pleasure. Listen. He lowered his voice conspiratorially, but still loud enough to carry. About those documents you left at my place. Right on cue, my phone exploded with texts from Jason. Who the hell is that man? What documents? Where were you last night? I ignored them all, continuing my performance with Bowen until I saw the PI frantically taking photos through the store window. Back in my car, I called Tessa. Show's over. How long until Jason gets the PI's report? Already did, she laughed. He's losing it. Just stormed into Rosalie's house. Aaron's watching them fight through the window. Good. I pulled into our driveway. unsurprised to find Jason's car already there. Time for Act Two. I found him pacing in the kitchen, face red with rage. Who is he? Who? I started unloading groceries. Don't play dumb. The man at the store. The one you had dinner with. Oh, Bowen? I kept my voice casual. Just a friend. Why are you having me followed, Jason? He froze. I'm not. Summit Investigations? I raised an eyebrow. Really? They have terrible reviews on Yelp, by the way. You've been acting strange, he sputtered, moving money around, meeting with lawyers. Speaking of money, I interrupted, how's Rosalie's boat shopping going? Find anything nice at the marina? The color drained from his face. What are you talking about? You know exactly what I'm talking about. I pulled out my phone, showing him the marina photos Aaron had taken. The same day you told me you were at a client meeting. Funny coincidence. You're spying on me? Learned from the best, honey. I started walking upstairs. By the way, your girlfriend's offshore account, the one you've been trying to transfer our money to, it's been frozen. He grabbed my arm, spinning me around. What did you do? Let go of me. My voice was ice. Unless you want assault charges added to the fraud ones. His grip tightened. You vindictive bit. I wouldn't finish that sentence. Bowen's voice cut through the tension. He stood in our doorway, phone recording everything. Let her go, Jason. Jason released me, stepping back. This is my house. Actually, I smiled, rubbing my arm. As of this morning, it's not. Remember that LLC you transferred it to? Turns out there were some irregularities in the paperwork. My lawyers had fun with that. You can't do this, he whispered. I already did. I reached into my bag, pulling out a stack of papers. Divorce papers, bank statements, evidence of fraud, even a copy of that little poison incident at the charity gala. Aaron's been quite helpful. My own brother? His voice cracked. Karma's funny that way. I headed for the door. Oh, and Jason, the PI you hired, he works for me now. Those photos of you and Rosalie, just more evidence for the court. Where are you going? He called after me. To meet your brother and sister-in-law for dinner. The real estate agent will be here in 20 minutes to change the locks. Don't worry about packing. Most of your stuff is already in storage. I'm sure Rosalie has room for you. Although, I paused, checking my phone. Judging by her latest text, maybe not. I showed him the screen. A message from Rosalie saying she couldn't handle this anymore, that she was done with both of us. As I walked out, I heard him frantically dialing her number, but I already knew she wouldn't answer. She was too busy trying to access the frozen accounts, discovering that her carefully laid plans were crumbling around her. Ready for the final act? Bowen asked as we got into his car. I looked back at the house, at Jason's desperate figure through the window. Oh, we're just getting started. You did what? Rosalie's screech echoed through the conference room at Bowen's law office. She stared at the documents spread across the table, her perfectly manicured hands shaking. I think the technical term is reverse Uno card, I said calmly, watching her face contort with rage. Every transaction you and Jason made, I matched. Every account you tried to hide, I found. Every lie you told, I documented. Jason sat slumped in his chair, tie loosened, looking like he'd aged 10 years in a week. This is impossible. Actually, Bowen interjected, sliding more papers across the table. It was quite possible and legal, unlike, say, attempting to poison your wife to prevent her from attending a meeting. That wasn't, Rosalie started. Save it. I cut her off. Aaron already provided his statement. The security footage from the restaurant kitchen is particularly interesting. You bitch, she spat. We were friends. Were we? I leaned forward. Because friends don't sleep with each other's husbands. Friends don't plot to steal inheritances, and friends definitely don't try to have each other committed to cover their tracks. Jason's head snapped up. That was your idea, he said to Rosalie. You said we needed to discredit her. Oh, now you want to play blame game? Rosalie turned on him. What about the boat you bought without telling me, or the money you kept for yourself? I sat back, watching them tear into each other. Tessa, who'd been quietly observing from the corner, caught my eye and smirked. If we could return to the matter at hand, Bowen interrupted their bickering. Marley has agreed to not press criminal charges. How generous, Rosalie sneered. If you both sign these papers immediately. He pushed forward 2 sets of documents. Full confession, complete separation of assets, and a non-disclosure agreement. Or what? Jason challenged. I pulled out my phone, pulling up a video. Or this goes to the board of your company, and the police, and every social media platform I can find. I pressed play, letting them hear their own voices plotting my financial ruin. You recorded us? Rosalie's voice was barely a whisper. No, you recorded yourselves. Remember that echo device in our bedroom, Jason? The one you got me for Christmas? Turns out it picks up everything, including conversations about poisoning your wife. The color drained from both their faces. You have 20 minutes to decide, Bowen stated. Sign or we proceed with criminal charges. You can't prove, Jason started. Actually, Aaron's voice came from the doorway as he walked in. We can. The restaurant's camera footage, bank records, witness statements, including mine. Sign the papers, Jason. It's over. Rosalie grabbed a pen first, her signature angry and sharp across the pages. I never should have trusted you, she spat at Jason. Feelings mutual, he muttered, reaching for the second pen. As they signed, I studied them both. These people who'd planned to destroy me, now destroying each other instead. One more thing, I said as they finished. Your jobs. They both looked up sharply. I didn't send anything to your employers, yet. But one wrong move, one attempt at retaliation. I let the threat hang in the air. You've ruined us enough, Rosalie said, standing up. I hope you're happy. Happy? I laughed. No, satisfied? Getting there. By the way, that apartment you bought with my money, the keys are with your doorman, along with copies of everything we discussed today, just in case you get any ideas. She stormed out, heels clicking angrily down the hallway. Jason remained seated, staring at his hands. I did love you once. No, you loved what I could give you. There's a difference. I stood up, gathering my papers. The house is sold, by the way. Closed this morning. Your things are in storage. Aaron has the key. Where will I go? Not my problem anymore. I turned to leave, then paused. Oh, and that promotion you were up for? The board meeting's tomorrow. Shame about that anonymous email they'll receive tonight. His face crumpled as the full weight of his actions finally hit him. Outside the office, Tessa hugged me tight. You okay? Better than okay. I watched through the window as Jason buried his face in his hands. Think they've learned their lesson? If not, we have plenty more evidence, Aaron said, patting his briefcase. Speaking of evidence, Bowen joined us. Dinner to celebrate? I know a great place that doesn't serve poisoned food. I laughed, feeling lighter than I had in weeks. Lead the way, but first, I pulled out my phone, opening my banking app. Time to close some accounts. As we walked out, I heard Jason's muffled sobs through the conference room door. Once that sound would have broken my heart. Now it just confirmed what I already knew. Karma had finally come calling, and she was serving exactly what they deserved. Your house is empty, Rosalie said, standing on my front porch a week later. She looked terrible. Designer clothes replaced by wrinkled jeans, perfect makeup gone, dark circles under her eyes. Not my house anymore, I replied, continuing to load boxes into my car. Sold for well above asking price, actually. Amazing what properties can go for when they're not tied up in fraudulent LLCs. I lost everything, she whispered. My job, my reputation, my savings. Funny how karma works. I closed my trunk. Did you really think you'd get away with it? Jason, she started, got what he deserved? I finished for her. I heard he's living in a motel since you kicked him out. The board meeting went exactly as expected. She wrapped her arms around herself. He lied to me too, you know. Said there was more money, other accounts. There were, but they weren't his to promise you. I checked my watch. If you're here for sympathy, you're wasting your time. I'm here to apologize. I laughed, the sound sharp and bitter. 8 years of friendship. You were my maid of honor. You held my hand at my father's funeral. And the whole time you were planning this? Not the whole time, she protested weakly. It started last year when Jason. Stop. I held up my hand. I don't care when it started. I care that it happened at all. A car pulled into the driveway. Aaron and Tessa, right on schedule. Ready to go? Tessa called out, then spotted Rosalie. Oh, hell no. I'm leaving, Rosalie said quickly, backing away. I needed you to know I'm sorry. Sorry you did it, or sorry you got caught? Aaron asked coldly. She flinched. Both, I guess. She reached into her purse, pulling out an envelope. These are the rest of the account numbers, the ones Jason didn't know about. I I transferred everything back. I took the envelope without opening it. Goodbye, Rosalie. We watched her walk away, shoulders hunched, nothing left of the confident woman who'd once been my best friend. You okay? Tessa squeezed my hand. Better than okay. I handed her the envelope. Add these to the evidence file, just in case. Aaron started loading the last few boxes. Jason called again this morning, begging for another chance. Let me guess. He's sorry. He'll change. He never meant to hurt me? Actually, Aaron grinned, he wanted to know if you'd testify on his behalf. Seems he's trying to pin everything on Rosalie. Wow. I shook my head. They really deserve each other. Speaking of deserving, Tessa waggled her eyebrows. Bowen's been asking about you. Stop. But I couldn't help smiling. We're just friends. Friends who've had dinner 3 times this week? Before I could respond, another car pulled up. Jason stepped out, looking as rough as Rosalie had. Marley, please, he called out. Just 5 minutes. The restraining order says otherwise, I reminded him. Unless you want to add violation to your growing list of legal problems? I lost my job today, he said, taking a step forward. Aaron moved between us. Back off, brother. This is between me and my wife. Ex-wife, I corrected. As of this morning, check your email. His face crumpled. You didn't even give me a chance to fight it. Like the chance you gave me before trying to steal everything I had? I walked up to him, keeping just outside arm's reach. The divorce is final. The house is sold. Your stuff is in storage. Paid through the end of the month. After that, it's going to auction. I'll tell everyone what you did, he threatened. How you set us up, trapped us. Go ahead, I smiled. Tell them how your wife outsmarted you, how your mistress turned on you, how your own brother helped bring you down. I'm sure it'll make a fascinating story. You've destroyed me, he whispered. No, Jason, you destroyed yourself. I just made sure you couldn't destroy me in the process. My phone buzzed, Bowen calling. I have to take this. Goodbye, Jason. Don't contact me again. As I walked away, I heard Tessa tell him, the moving truck's here. You need to leave. I answered my phone, watching in my rearview mirror as Jason slumped back to his car. Everything okay? Bowen asked. Still on for dinner? Everything's perfect, I replied, looking at the sold sign in front of my former home. And yes to dinner. I'm thinking somewhere new. Fresh start. As I drove away, leaving Jason and Rosalie's broken schemes behind, I felt nothing but peace. They'd tried to write my ending, but I'd rewritten the whole story instead. And this ending? This one was all mine. You're really going through with this? Tessa asked, watching me pack the last box into my new SUV. The house in Portland is perfect, I said. Close enough to visit, far enough for a fresh start. I checked my phone, smiling at Bowen's message about dinner plans. Speaking of fresh starts, Tessa nodded toward my driveway, where Aaron was pulling up with unexpected news written all over his face. You need to see this, he said, handing me his tablet. On the screen was a local news article. Financial fraud investigation leads to multiple arrests. They actually did it, I whispered, scanning the article. They tried to frame each other. According to the story, both Jason and Rosalie had separately gone to the authorities, each trying to pin their schemes on the other. Their competing confessions had triggered a full investigation. That's not all. Aaron swiped to another article. Remember that charity gala? Turns out you weren't their only victim. My mother burst through the front door of Tessa's house, where I'd been staying. Have you seen the news? They're saying 3 other women were poisoned at different events. I know, Mom. I handed her the tablet. Aaron just showed me. The detective wants to talk to you again, she said. They're building a bigger case now. My phone buzzed. An unknown number. Speaking of, Mrs. Webb? A familiar voice said when I answered. Detective Roberts here. We've had some interesting developments. I saw the news, I replied, putting the phone on speaker. How can I help? We need your evidence files, all of them. Seems your documentation could help prove a pattern of behavior. I caught Aaron's eye. Send everything, I mouthed. He nodded, already pulling out his laptop. You'll have everything within the hour, I told the detective. Any chance of real jail time? With multiple victims coming forward, absolutely. The DA's particularly interested in the poisoning angle. After hanging up, I sat heavily on Tessa's porch steps. I never wanted them in jail. I just wanted them to face consequences. They made their choices, Mom said firmly. Actions have consequences. My phone buzzed again. Bowen this time. You okay? Saw the news? Better than okay, I replied. Dinner still on? Actually, he said, I was thinking, Portland has some amazing restaurants. I smiled. Are you inviting yourself on my fresh start? My firm has an office there. Been thinking about transferring anyway. Tessa made exaggerated kissing noises in the background. I swatted at her, trying not to laugh. I'd like that, I told Bowen. The company would be nice. Mom cleared her throat. Speaking of company, she pointed down the street where a familiar figure was approaching. Rosalie in handcuffs, escorted by 2 officers. They were going house to house, apparently investigating the other poisoning cases. Don't, Aaron said as I stood. You don't owe her anything. I know. I walked down to the sidewalk anyway. But I want to see this. Rosalie looked even worse than before. Her eyes met mine, and for a moment I saw a flicker of the friend she used to be. They're investigating the Mitchell woman's case, she said quietly. The one from the summer fundraiser. I nodded. I remember, she nearly died. That was Jason's idea. Her voice cracked. He said we needed practice. Practice? The word tasted bitter. We were friends, Rosalie. Family. I know. She looked down at her cuffed hands. Greed makes monsters of us all. No, I corrected her. Choices make monsters. You chose this. The officers gently pulled her away. I watched them lead her to their car, remembering all the times we'd laughed together, shared secrets, supported each other through hard times. You did the right thing, Mom said, joining me on the sidewalk. All of it. Did I? I turned to her. Sometimes revenge feels an awful lot like justice. Sometimes they're the same thing. She hugged me tight. Now, about this Bowen situation. I laughed, the sound lighter than it had been in months. Let me at least get to Portland first. Fine, fine, she smiled. But I expect regular updates. My phone buzzed one last time. A text from Aaron. Jason had also been arrested, caught trying to flee the state. Ready to go? Tessa asked, dangling my new house keys. I looked around at my family, the real one, the one that had stood by me through everything, at the news vans starting to gather, hungry for the story of betrayal and justice, at my packed car, ready for whatever came next. More than ready, I said, though I think this story's just beginning. The best ones always are, Mom said, kissing my cheek. The best ones always are.